Welcome to the ADNA Presents. This is Roy Samuelson. This is a unique week. I am running for the governor of the Performers Peer Group of the Television Academy. And part of that is a really exciting time. There are a total of three of us candidates. And boy, I've read their bios and the statements of intent. We're in really good hands no matter what happens. I'm still putting my name in the ring. And I found this very enlightening. This is Bob Bergen, who has been the Performers Peer Group governor in the past. And he's sharing a little bit about his experience in working with me and also the behind the scenes of how the Television Academy peer groups work, as well as his contribution and how audio description performers were able to get into the Television Academy to qualify their television credits. There's been so much work on that, and it's something I'm really proud of. It's exciting to hear his perspective on it. So I asked him, and he said I'd be okay to share it. Here we go.
So this is a message for members of the Performers Peer Group at the Television Academy, because it's election time and they're electing a new governor. So if you're a member of the Performers Peer Group, this is for you. If you're not a member of the Performers Peer Group at the TV Academy, well, you still might just find this interesting because it's all about show business. Okay, let me start with this. There are three people running for governor of the Performers Peer Group at the TV Academy. In my humble opinion, all three are fantastic and all three are worthy of representing the performers at the TV Academy. That said, I am supporting and endorsing Roy Samuelson for governor of the Performers Peer Group. Let me give you a little bit of background. Sit down. This may take a few minutes. Let me give you a little bit of background on my experience serving at the Television Academy. And this is, I'm not even going to edit this, guys. I got to raise my podium. This is my booth. This is where I work. Say hi to my characters. Okay. So I was on the board of governors for a total of 10 years representing performers. I joined the TV Academy in the mid-90s. As at that time, the Television Academy, the Performers Peer Group, did not recognize voiceover as performing and or acting. Therefore, that meant that they would not allow a voiceover actor to be in the Performers Peer Group at the TV Academy. I joined in the animation peer group because they welcomed those of us that did voices for cartoons and television, which was delightful, and they were fantastic. And by the way, I'm still a dual member. I'm a member of Performers, Animation. Okay, so I was a member for a few years, and I went to the College Awards one year, and I'm sitting next to Kathy Joosten. You might remember Catherine Joosten from Desperate Housewives. She was the cranky neighbor. She was also a cranky actress. That was great casting. And I just happened to be sitting next to her at this dinner, and I was lamenting that, you're the governor of the Performance Peer Group, and you won't allow me in because you guys say that voiceover is not acting. And I won't say exactly what she said because it began with the letter F, and if basically F that. Long story short, Kathy, along with her co-governor, Conrad Bachman, talked to their peer group executive committee. That's a 10-member committee that kind of oversees everything with the two governors. And they adjusted the rules, and based on their diligent work, talked the board into accepting voiceover actors into the Performers Peer Group. Thus, I joined the Performers Peer Group. After a few years of volunteering for various committees and really just going to everything and rubbing elbows and getting to know the staff and the ins and outs, I was asked to be on the Performers Peer Group Executive Committee, that 10-member committee. And it was a blast. It was me and Bryan Cranston and Wendy Worthington. I mean, I could go over all the names of the people that were there, but it was a great group. Superb group of very smart, talented, dedicated people. Eventually, I was asked to run for the Board of Governors at the Television Academy. I won the election. Kathy Joosten sadly passed away my first 6 months serving. Lily Tomlin, bless her heart, ran and won her seat. And she was my co-governor for several years after that. Okay, I swear I'm going to get to Roy. So I'm a member. I'm on the board of governors. I've got my committee, fantastic group, continued to grow. Jerry Mathers, Christian LeBlanc. I mean, great people. And we always had a minute taker at our meetings. Someone there to take notes, and they weren't a full member, but they were there to just basically make sure that we had minutes for our meetings. And a few years into serving, I asked Roy if he would like to be our minute taker. And he said, sure. And during that year as minute taker, he really got to learn the ins and outs. He was probably a minute taker for a few years of what we were all about, the process, what it means to represent performers at the Television Academy. And eventually, I said to him, would you like to be on this committee? He said, absolutely. Now, one of the things I would always task the committee, the very first meeting of every year was come to every first meeting, I should say, with ideas for the year. Because our agenda at that first meeting was to plan out, well, what do we want to bring to the performers and to the Academy as a whole over that year? And I asked everybody, bring an idea, at least one idea. Every year Roy was on this committee. Guys, got any ideas? He would raise his hand. And he had always more than one. And I would always say, dude, and there's only 365 days a year. We can't do all of these. Roy's passion project was and is audio description for the blind. Basically, it's the narration that blind people can listen to that describe the exposition of a television show so they can follow along and for all intents and purposes, watch TV. And Roy wanted audio description performers to be members of the performers peer group, just like I wanted to be as a voiceover actor in the performers peer group. And he proposed it, and it didn't pass that first time. I don't think it passed the second time, but he was diligent, and he would sit down with me and say, okay, how do I adjust my cell? What do I do? And we worked on it. And there were lots of reasons why the performers peer group executive committee didn't pass this. I think, this is my own personal opinion, they didn't quite understand what it was. Just like the governors didn't really understand that voiceover was acting. I don't fault anybody for this. I look at that as a challenge. The challenge is you need to do a better job of selling it. And Roy just drank that in. So while he was on the Performers Peer Group Executive Committee, as a committee, I wanted to expand the definition of what a performer was, just like they did for me in voiceover. Roy's passion project was audio description. I thought, well, why aren't performers who do commercials in our peer group? Why aren't hosts in our peer group? What about performance capture? Why aren't they in our peer group? How about announcers? People that do promos, live announce. Why aren't they in our peer group? So, every year or time, I would propose somebody else or another genre of performing to be in our peer group. Roy was there. He was like, absolutely, I get it. Roy would work with me to author the proposals. Roy would be my devil's advocate. Well, what about this? What about that? He was so hands-on with me as a governor, as well as my co-governor, Lily Tomlin. All of our, I don't want to downplay anybody's participation in our committee because they were all terrific. But man, there was a spark about Roy. There was something about him that he just really got it. Now, I've got notes here because, there's a lot to talk about here. I was on a lot of committees when I was at the Television Academy. I co-chaired the Governor's Award. I co-chaired and produced the Creative Arts Emmys. I was on the Membership Committee, the Diversity Committee. I was on the Daytime Emmys Committee. I was on the Governor's Ball Committee. I was on the Primetime Emmys Committee. I was on a lot of committees. And I very loudly shared with Roy, this is what I'm doing, and this is why I'm doing it. I did it for several reasons. First of all, I love television. I love the Television Academy. And I always thought there needed to be acting representation on as many committees as possible. When I was the chair of the Governor's Award Committee, my passion was to get June Foray the Governor's Award. And bless the governor's hearts, they approved that. My point is, I was very hands-on. Roy was very hands-on. And over the years, he would keep promoting and pushing for audio description. And by golly, eventually, along with the hosts and the performance capture, our PGEC, our peer group executive committee, approved it, and so did the board. And so, by the way, did the FCC, because the way it's sort of like closed caption, audio description is there. It's on TV, it's in movies. It is there for everybody. It's not on every program, but it's going to be eventually on every program. And I bring all this up for a reason. I was a voiceover actor representing the performers peer group. We have a governor who works exclusively in daytime soap operas. You'll hear people say, well, that person only does dramas. That person only does sitcoms. When I joined the performers peer group, all they represented were sitcoms and dramas. Today, they represent all of these other genres of television. And my point is, you want a governor who is hands-on, forward-thinking, a great listener, somebody with experience, with years of experience within the peer group executive committee and the governance of the Television Academy. That's Roy. That is why he's got my support, okay? Now I'm going to say it again. The other two people who are running are fantastic people. I know the governors, the peer group, and the Television Academy will be in superb hands no matter who gets elected. But the most important thing is people vote. People vote. If you're a member of the performers peer group, or any peer group, and you're watching this just because it's kind of interesting, please vote. The lovely thing about the Television Academy, as well as the Motion Picture Academy, which I'm also a member of, is governance. It's elected by the peers. The Emmy is voted on by the peers. If you guys don't vote, then you missed your opportunity to have a voice in who is there being your advocate as a performer in the performers peer group. So if you have any questions about Roy, you can always email me, bob@bobbergen.com. Happy to answer them. I'm going to ask for this, guys. You can comment below. I don't care. That's fine. Nothing negative. Zero negative campaigning. Don't say anything bad about anybody. Because, you know what, guys? We're going to shoot the messenger. It's just tacky. Like I said, we're in great hands no matter who gets elected. But you now have about a 13-minute or so tutorial as to why I think Roy Samuelson, should get his name right. And I speak for a living. I had Novocaine this morning, so maybe I'm a little slurry. I'm getting braces in December. Okay, just thought I'd share that. Oi, just saying. Back to Roy. I think he'd be a great governor. He's got my endorsement. I hope he has yours too. So I look forward to whoever is our governor, and I look forward to being there for whomever is elected and whatever they need. But I sure hope it's Roy. And on that note, that's all, folks.